I owe a lot to cricket, I think, because of what it's done for me. But I was always so stuck in between, you know. But my personal expectations, you know, I'm going to Western Province next year. I want to try and... the Bulls.
No man is trying out there.
No, geez, Pretoria. Yeah, and I'm English as well. No, they're all good.
Welcome to your number one rugby podcast. It's your favorite hour, and you know who it is. It's Juan de Jong, and next to me is the one and only.
It's a big deal, Paigey. Let's go. Come on.
You got a different view coming up here. Hey, Paigey. Hey, but who's in the studio?
It is a friend of the
show. A friend of the show. Should we say Gio? What's going on?
I do not know.
Okay. He's part of the family. Hey, Gio, welcome to Behind the Ruck.
Just call me Boet.
Huh?
Boet. Yeah, I guess a Boet.
Yes.
Boet.
I'm not that old.
Orkie snorkie. Yeah. Gio, welcome to Behind the Ruck. I know it's pretty much, I don't know, caps is counting. He's almost at 50th cap.
Yes.
But it's good to have you back. Obviously, this is pretty much a lekker hour for us as well, just to wrap up the year. It's been an incredible year, especially for the green and gold, but also just fantastic to have you and have your insight about, not Springbok rugby, but rugby overall.
No, it's good to be back. It's always good to be back. The Obut is back in the house to look after the two young brothers. So yeah, it's good. Good to be back.
Exciting times. It's time to do the protocol, eh? Making sure that Behind the Ruck is supported by SuperSport Bet, the one and only SuperSport Bet, okay? And then Ticket Pro, guys, you know, okay? It's time to get your tickets and making sure you get that thing in your hand as soon as possible, hey, Paigey?
And then Ruckers is last week, as we announced, we have a new audio sponsor on board, Planet World South Africa. So please go check out this stuff online. And guys, what can we expect on Behind the Ruck today? Episode 72, we have our analyst. Our friend of the show, our mastermind in Behind the Ruck. We got Gio Aplon with us to discuss everything Springboks, the awards. Hulle het verrassie gemis, okay? Ons gaat daaroor skel. There's a lot of stuff. Is the Red. Bietjie wat is sy naam? He's coach of the year. We're going to make sure we discuss that. And we got the young, promising, I don't want to say superstar, but rising star, Riley Norton, SA Schools captain, under 19 SA cricketer. He's only one of 4 players who played SA Schools cricket and rugby. We're going to learn a little bit about the youngster and what schoolboy rugby in a total look like. So guys, sit back, relax, put on your seatbelt, and welcome to the rugby show that is closest to your heart. This is Behind the Ruck, and I am your... that's genoeg.
Okay. Look at this, let's cut it to the bone. Okay, let's get straight into rugby. But before we get there, let's get to the results of the past weekend. It's round 4. Obviously, it was France 37-23 Argentina, and Ireland 52-17 Fiji. We had Wales versus South Africa 45-12. Italy, a close one, 11-29 against New Zealand. And then Sunday, the two big ones. Scotland's 27-13 against Australia, and then England 59-14 against Japan. Konnichiwa. Yo, that's a mouthful. Talk to us. What have you seen this past weekend, especially that Friday game? And that was a tough one when it comes to France versus Argentina.
I think Argentina's on the rise. You can definitely see that. They've been good the previous week against Ireland. Against Ireland, they were unlucky. I don't know if it's a knock on the last one or not, but we're not going to dwell on that. We'll talk about the referees later. But yeah, Arg is definitely on the rise. More cohesion over the next year or two, and they'll be a danger in the future.
Yeah, 100%, yeah, and especially with the main man. You know how I feel about the main man, Dupont, and I always tell him as well, when Dupont plays as a different team, I mean, it's almost like a France with another gear. It's exciting to see him back, and also there's youngsters coming through as well, you know, Bellier, Louis Bellier. Have you seen a couple of things, especially with the backs and the forwards?
I think let's start with Dupont first. I think there's always the argument of who's the best player and who's the best player in the world or whatever. But I can definitely say he's the most influential player I've seen in my lifetime. A guy that goes to sevens and they've never won a tournament. He gets there and his influence makes them win a tournament. They win a gold medal. Like you say, when he doesn't play for France, they're a different team. When he doesn't play for Toulouse, they're a totally different team. Again, he plays 9. Paigey, you know, a 9, the amount of ball that goes through and the decision making, how you have to control the game, being tactical. I mean, I think people, yes, we watch highlights of other players and etc. and etc. But people don't understand how difficult it is to play now, and then people do not understand how difficult it is to be so influential as a 9 and 99% of the time make the right decision.
You know, boys, what I like about him, the fact is that I know for a fact everybody game plans for him. But he still stands out whenever he plays. So he's not a surprise on the international scene where he catches teams by surprise. If let's say Jacques Nienaber would have prepped for the Pont any set of strengths, and he's still a superstar. So that is what makes him so real good. But boys, talking about that Argentina-France game, the guy who's caught my eye this year, I don't know if you guys agree with me, is the Los Pumas flyer, Albanos.
Yes.
I thought he's been really a calming factor. His decision making has been really good. I've liked everything about him for Los Pumas and playing for Benetton as well. So he's been really good in my point of view.
And the boys looking good, especially Argentina. I mean, they had some great upsets, especially this year as well. And Contoponi, their rugby is on the up. I don't know if you agree, disagree.
Yes, and again, the notion of we always arguing Super Rugby, URC. Their boys are playing in all over the show, and they've got a good coaching staff that gets them together. What's his name? The Flav is back from a good season from Benetton.
Yes.
So it also depends on where you play, how you get coached, and how you bring that value back. I mean, Contoponi has been around various good teams. So I think the way he makes those teams gel and get them together, and again, without a local competition, without a competition where they normally play with each other, that's incredible if you think about it.
Look, if you look at that game, the one thing that also stood out for me, Argentina this year has been the discipline. Less penalties. Their penalty count has been down. They were really unfortunate early in the game. Montoya going off with that yellow card, which I thought was really harsh. Did they score a try? And
they scored a try.
They scored a try. The try got pulled back. So that kind of had a massive momentum swing early in the game for Los Pumas, where he got the yellow card, which I felt we're going to discuss the laws a little bit later.
We have
but that was really a tough goal, which changed the momentum and 7 points off the board.
For sure.
So
they're looking good, I must agree. And before we get to the big one, which is obviously Wales and South Africa, we want to speak about South Africa, but a little bit deeper later on. But let's talk about Scotland, Australia as well. And that was kind of much a game that we thought Australia can get one over Scotland. Scotland was not struggling.
Not we.
Okay. Matt Gito and myself. they were looking to go for a Grand Slam. But yeah, what was your thoughts on that game? And I mean, they were in it for a very long time.
Yeah, the Scottish group has been together for a long time. I think a lot of those guys play together at Glasgow, they play together at Edinburgh, so they've got that cohesion. If you look at Australia, I'm really impressed with their progression, how they got from literally playing against the Springboks, we thought they're going to take 50, getting to the end of the year to winning 2 games. Yes, coming close on Saturday, they had some opportunities, but the way they're playing and the way they're evolving, yes, they're not there yet. Yes, they don't have maybe a proper 10 yet. But their forwards are playing well. They've got 1 or 2 backs, but they're going to need some time. Is it 2 years? Is it 4 years? Is it 6 years? They're definitely going to need some time. But you can see Joe Smith, and if you look at Ireland, the way they're playing now, that's Joe Smith. So Joe Smith has a recipe to get teams to a certain stage, but you have to give him time. I'm really impressed with the way they play. I'm not overexcited that they're going to have success soon, but the way they progress is quite good.
Did you like the fact that how direct they were in the end of the year tour?
Yes.
Because that is the first thing I picked up. They were a little bit more direct with their carries.
In intensity, they had an intensity about them. And you could see they want to play. They really wanted to play. Rob Valentini is massive for them.
They've got senior players now. And
they really have some good players, but they need someone. They need a director of that whole
100%,
movie.
yeah.
And yes, Noah Lolosio is a good rugby player, but I think they need like a Polly type of player who can really sit in the pocket at times, kick them to the corners, get them on the front foot. Because they can play, but sometimes they don't play in the right area. Sometimes they don't get the right ball to the backs. So maybe a conductor, maybe a proper 9 and a 10. But
yeah.
I mean, I'm dreaming now because you're not going to find those guys there now.
And especially,
but if they had a proper 9 and a 10, they would have been.
Yeah, especially 10 as well. I mean, I'm happy with the 9s as well. They're playing some good rugby and they've been there for a couple of seasons now. But I feel like they're lacking at number 10 because that is the position that connects the backline and the forwards together. And they do have the senior players. They've got 50 caps with Valentini and all these boys. But at the end of the day, even Ben Donaldson coming off the bench doesn't make an impact. Like you need like I'm not going to say like a Quade Cooper and those boys that's been there for not years, but senior players that can gel the team connected, that drives them around the corner a little bit more because they're playing, but they don't have direction that much.
No, for sure. But then the next argument is whoever you bring in, how long is that person going to be there? But again, if you look at Fassi and Willie now a little bit, if you spend time with the Quade Cooper, you spend time with let's say for argument's sake, it's Matt Kito, James O'Connor, whoever that might be, maybe that might help, but they're going to need some time or some method to fix that. But I think overall they're really heading into a direction. Again, I'm not too excited that they're going to get results, but they're definitely moving in a direction where we didn't expect them. I thought they were dead in the water.
And partner, let me ask you this, obviously from a coaching point of view. Let's say they don't have any other options at 10. How do Joe Smith in Australia develop Lolosio to become what they need? How do they develop him to...
But exactly what I'm thinking is you need to develop him with a senior player, because sometimes when a senior player leaves, it's easy to learn when a senior player is there and gives you the blueprint than to just say, here's the blueprint, do your thing. So I feel like they needed that senior player around him for a very long time. But also in the same breath, I'm thinking like maybe is he the right one that can lead him forward? Because when you look at fly-offs today, you need to make your tackles. It doesn't look like he's physical enough. You need to be clinical when it comes to touch. You need to be clinical when it comes to poles as well. And I don't see that international capability yet. I see maybe on a URC level or Super Rugby level, but when it comes to international level, it's a different league. So that's why I said it would be nice to see Bernard Foley, Quade Cooper, helping him through just a season or two. You don't have to have him there to just to play, but just to help these youngsters coming through, especially like a Donaldson as well.
I think maybe there's a guy there. I mean, Banjo was in the show the other day. Maybe get a guy like Banjo who's really good at controlling the game and is really good. He worked under Robbie Deans. He was really good for the Reds when he played there. I think he played for New South Wales. Also played for Australia. He was very instrumental in Japan. So maybe get a guy like that who's also a coach, who knows about a kicking game. Use him in that environment and help him to make Lolosio, or if it's Tom Leinach or whoever it is, help them grow. But Joe Smith also on the other side, he had an Irish team that I know back in the day used to give 50, 60 points. And he galvanized that team. And Joe Smith is quite good when it comes to structure, to give guys a plan, how to work and how to play with intensity. And I think he's smart enough, he's a good coach enough. I mean, he had a really big part in how the All Blacks grew in the last year and a half before Razor. So I think he's got the credentials, or how you might call that.
Yeah. For him,
It's a big word for me. But I mean, he's been around there, so he will know definitely what to do.
Yeah, and they've got a lot to look out for, especially when it comes to British and Irish Lions still, and even the World Cup coming to them as well. But before we get too stuck into the in the past, we want to get to the future. But there's one game this weekend as well at Boland Stadium. It's something that's close to our hearts. The top 12 final. Robertson Town versus Worcester Villages. Tight score there as well, 31-29. What did you guys feel? I mean, 12,000 people coming out to Boland Stadium. Huh? Incredible.
I quickly want to give a massive shout out to my cousin, Hugo. Congratulations on winning at his number 4 lock. Yeah, place 4 for Robertson. So, O'Neif, well done.
Were you at the game?
I was at the semi-finals. Incredible venue. Well. Incredible venue. Great to see what a local team means to the community. And I think that's what you can take out of this. Yes, it's the rugby part, is playing on TV, but what a local bricklayer, what a local guy works, wherever he works, what that means to a little kid, a auntie, a cousin, a brother, a friend. That was what it was about for me to see it at Boland Stadium. Yeah. Yes, Robertson Town getting redemption.
Yes,
last year missing the kick. Unlucky for Worcester Villages, but also heads off to Worcester Villages. Last year they didn't even make the top 12. Yes, they were down in the gutter, and to come back after where they were last year, coming back and playing in the final, we must also give them a lot of credit.
Yeah, African Hendricks, I mean, they were phenomenal when it comes to the 9-10 channel, and the talent in around Boland is absolutely fantastic. I mean, even the youngsters coming through as well. There's a couple of these boys, the under-21 boys, that also played for in the semi-final and final as well. But credit must go to Robertson Town. I mean, especially the coach as well, John Boyson, that coached the Kruijnvik as well. So he retired from the Kruijnvik. He has done an incredible job. Losing in the final last year, and talented players as well. Dian van der Walt, it's the number 8.
Yes.
That is incredible. Yeah.
Groete vir jou sussie.
Yes, groete vir jou sussie. Yeah. Colin Willems is incredible form, and I mean, Boland is just looking good at the moment. Yeah.
Oh, for sure. No, definitely.
And I can
Boys,
only
but
go from
the
there.
stadium was packed 12 o'clock the
12,000.
afternoon.
Yes.
The final was only 4 o'clock. That's insane.
Yes.
Yes, Boland Rugby is in fantastic
Boland,
condition.
in land, ja.
Boland, Pale toe, Boland, huis toe. What, Doelen toe, sorry.
Yeah, and Gaten McKenzie was there as well. Okay, we must get him in the studio. Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Based.
Maar Bok Rugby. Bok Rugby.
Let's go to the award shows. Talk about Bok Rugby. Pieter Steef de Tooi. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Incredible. Well deserved.
Pieter
I mean,
Steef
it was tight because obviously we want to see Cheslin there. It's a smaller power ranger you want to see
Yeah.
there. Eben has been incredible. Kalen Doris has been instrumental for his country. Doesn't mean a lot to us for that matter, but I mean he's been instrumental if you look at the series in South Africa. But I mean pity. Unbelievable. I think there's no words.
That was your vote from the get-go?
Yeah. Yes, you always hope for Cheslin. Back in deep in your heart, you always hope for Cheslin. And the other part also hoped for Eben. Like being consistent, being the most capped Springbok, being consistently good.
Year after year.
Year after year. And you also like hope like he can also get it. But then again, you have to give it to someone who deserves it like pity.
Yeah, puts his body in the line, the stuff that he goes through. I mean,
Boys, he's played lock this year for us, the Australian games.
When we needed him, yeah.
Yeah,
Injuries
so
and stuff, yeah.
you kind of forget about it because it's a few months ago. The impact he had for us away from him playing lock when the boys were injured. So well deserved.
Anyone that you probably saw that could have made the squad of the nominees as well? I mean, we spoke about Ox and Che, you know. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. But is there anyone else there, especially not only in South Africa as well, but overseas?
In the dream team or in the nominations?
In the nominees.
No, I think that was, if you look at every single country, New Zealand wasn't that good, Australia wasn't that good. I mean, Ireland, they didn't. No, I was happy with, apart from Ox, I think I was happy with nominations.
I probably would have put in a dream team just one guy that I thought has been phenomenal. I don't know whether I would play in 15 or 10 was Tomo Ramo, the French fullback. I thought the Investic Champions Cup, he was instrumental in winning it for Toulouse. The Six Nations, he's been consistent. End of the year too, moving to fly-off, putting in the performances against the All Blacks, the past weekend against Argentina. So Tomo Ramo was for me someone that I thought deserved a spot, either 10 or 15 in the dream team.
In the dream team as well, yeah. So he's been incredible. I mean, Dupont is also someone that I probably thought can make it, especially when you look at Gibson Park, that's in the squad at the moment, and he's actually oversigned him a little bit when it came to that final of the European Champions Cup, and even the season he's had, but only because of the sevens. That's why pretty much I don't think he got that opportunity.
But again, we must look at the dream team. For that matter, is it the team that, and that's the thing with the World Rugby. Do you want us to pick an entertaining team, or do you want us to pick a team that's based on rugby? Because if the Pond is going to be consistent, then he's going to be the best. He might not be entertaining, but he's going to be the best. But if Jameson Gibson Park comes on and he plays nice and he scores a nice try, are we going to pick him? So I think from that perspective, we need to understand what the criteria is. Are you picking entertainers, or are you picking rugby guys who's consistently good? Who's Eben, who's consistently good? Are we going to pick him, or are you going to suddenly pick Tupovai because he had a good season? If you understand what I mean. So we do not know what the criteria is. The same with the nomination of the coaches. Is it the what is it now, the one-time wonder, or is it the talk of the town, or is it the person that is meaningful, who's won, what it is, 11 out of 13 games? Did he win a series there? Did he win a trophy there? Or is it just, he won this one event? So if World Rugby can explain to us what is the criteria, then we could understand better. Because we can understand why the point is not there, and why this guy's there, why this coach has been picked, and why this guy's not there.
And Ruckus, that is why we have him on your number one rugby podcast. Just after that is why he's on your number one rugby podcast. Unbelievable.
And there's other boys as well, breakthrough player of the year as
I'm
well.
happy.
Wallace Titi. You happy with Sevens player of the year? Dupont actually, he gets what he wants.
Just because of the influence. And again, like we're saying, is it, if you look at Sevens, and we always talk about it when we had SAS, it's like the amount of work you have to put into play on the circuit. I mean, there's guys that put in a hell of an effort over the season, and the guy comes in, he plays 2 tournaments, and yes, he's been influential, yes, he's a great rugby player. But again, is it the rugby decision, or is it the entertaining decision?
Yeah.
And there we get stuck in the middle there, or in the mud there, because is it rugby, Or yes, Dupont has been good, he's influential. Yes, he deserves it on that basis. But he's been a guy there's probably been some guys that have been consistent over the year. Maybe didn't win the Olympic gold, but hell, they've been consistent.
I feel a bit different, partner. I feel like that the award shouldn't have gone to him. That's my personal, He only played 2 tournaments and the Olympics. A guy like Sylvan Davids, way more consistent through the entirety of the tournament. Players in the Argentinian team that were dominant in the series. Maybe should have gotten that thingy. But once again, as our analyst and our friend of the show is just what's the criteria?
And we do not know.
But
we can probably
he was very good when he came on. I mean, he was very good in those couple of tournaments he played. He made a massive difference. And it's just the impact he made, especially for Sevens rugby as well. I mean, he played a couple of tournaments. In those tournaments, he was involved with. He actually won the tournament. And when it came to, if you looked at the Olympics overall, you mean the quarterfinals, semifinals. When he came on, he played off the bench most of the time. The impact he did. When he came on, he made a massive difference.
But then he should get an award for the Olympics.
Yeah,
you can't get an award for the Sevens. The Sevens series consists of, I think, 8 tournaments.
Yes.
He played 2. He won the Olympics. Then give him an award for the Olympics. In his own, what is it that? In his own country. Yes, he's an unbelievable rugby player. But I mean, again, the criteria.
I like that.
What are we busy
Educated.
There's so much things to cover. But let's get to the big name, Springbok Rugby. I mean, we're sitting here with the Springbok badge as well. Gio, let's talk about it. I mean, Springbok Rugby has been fantastic. I mean, 13 games. It's 11 out of 13. What have you seen throughout the Island series? What have you seen about the Rugby Championship and even the end of year tour as well? Debuts. And just from a structure point of view, have you impressed with defense, attack, and the technical detail?
If you look at the Springboks this year, the more things change, the more it stays the same. If you look, the scrum is still dominant. The physicality is still dominant. And what Tony Brown has done is he's added some little bit of intensity with the physicality. And it is always good for you as a forward, and you know you're going to play 45. A back doesn't want to hear that. I want to play the full game. But if a forward knows, listen, I'm going to play 45 minutes, I'm going to come off, he's going to give everything.
Yeah.
So you mix that power, that intensity, and then you replace that with a fresh Duracell battery. It's like you take the remote, you play a little bit for 40 minutes, and you put a fresh one in. And so that is the good thing. If you look at the Springboks now, there's a little bit of change in the way they approach games. I did a little bit of analysis or looks at things. They pass a bit, or they carry a bit more. So they carry about more than, I think, 10 carries per game more, with what they used to do in the past in 2023. Sure. But also, again, if you compare 23 to 24, it's been a World Cup year. It's all about winning. It might not be about entertainment. Defensive, if you look at the Springboks back, there was always like, it worked in tandem. If they defend well, make a lot of tackles, they don't play a lot. If they play a lot, they don't tackle. But now there's a mix. There's a mix. The other stat I had is like position. They didn't used to worry about position. In the last 10 or 20 minutes, they didn't worry about that. Nowadays, they want that position in the last 20 because the guys are fast. It went up from 40% to 67% now. Position in the last 10 minutes consistently. So back in the day, they were fine sitting back and say, listen, we've won this game or we're going to kick. Yeah. Now they want the ball actually. So there's a lot of change, but again, the core stays the scrum. You can't hide away from that. Any team that wants to play them, you can't hide away from the kicking game with the new law that you can't be in the way or escort anymore. So the Springbok Rugby is still based on pure physicality, still based on the forwards. DNA. The forwards dominates the game and they get replaced. Yes, there's subtle changes in the defense and in the attack, the way they play, the more passes. I think it's about 3 passes more per game now than they used to do in 2023. But again, that married with some pure physicality, it's really difficult to stop. And I've listened to some stuff and I've tried to analyze stuff. And I don't say it's impossible to stop the Springboks, but I don't know if you can come with the identity and play against them and think you're going to win them. You need to unravel and hope a lot of things go wrong for them, for you either to get in there and that's why they lose with 1 point. That's why they lose with 2 points. It is really, I don't think you can come there and knock the house down and say, I'm gonna do this. No, they will clap you in your gezicht.
And the scrum as well. Let's talk about the scrum because it was always, we had the strength on the scrum and the line-out, and there's always been a weapon. But I feel like when it came to Rugby Championship and even the end of the year to our line-out wasn't that strong that much, but that scrum was stable as always. I mean, Ox was there, the guys coming in and out, Thomas getting opportunity. Gerard getting an opportunity. But credit must go to Dan. I don't know what the DNA is, how they do it, but it's always been solid. And when you come to international rugby, people will look at you and analyze you and be like, okay, cool, we'll target this scrum, we'll stop that, but they can't. A lot of international teams come, New Zealand, we dominant, England, we dominant. What do you see? What is the coaching thing, or is it just a DNA thing?
First of all, is that bucket yet?
Huh? We start with,
I need one for summer.
As Harvard too.
I need one for summer.
So I think, Dan is an unbelievable coach. Firstly, we have the athletes to do that. We have the raw physicality and power together with the technicality. We can do that. But I think also there's a bit of smartness. Whether it's John Davids, whether it's Rassie, they understand the way the game is evolving now. Lineouts might not be the main thing because guys or teams kick up and unders, they contest, they kick long. So the main thing that's going to happen is the scrum. Because you're going to play more, there's going to be knock-ons, whether it's for you or for them.
Yeah.
And I think they've put a lot of energy or focus on that and say, listen here, World Rugby, you can change the rules, whatever you want to do. But at some stage, we need to scrum. If you want to play, you want to make it entertaining, and then you can't touch the 9. At some stage, someone's going to knock on the ball, and we're going to scrum. And I think that's what they build the game on. So when it's the Springboks ball, they can either attack or scrum for a penalty. If it's your ball, they can put you under pressure like they did with Wales. So I think Dan, in his own right, brilliant coach, but I think there's also smart playing with the Springboks, saying, listen here, that is going to be the source of our strength. We're going to scrum in with 3 or 7 proper forwards, and then we're going to bring 7 more on. So you can play. Whenever you make a knock-on or a mistake, and our defense will force you, we'll scrum.
Look, I think when it comes to the line-out thing that I probably thought, and Ruckers, I've got no rights to talk about line-outs. I just used to get the delivery. But I think the one thing that's constantly changed within our line-out is our line-out operator. In the Rugby Championship, it was Ruan of Kia.
Yes.
He got injured. We changed it to Sous end of the year. Sous got injured, then it was Ergis Snyman the following week.
Salman
So our
as
line-out,
well.
Salman. So our line-out operator from the Island series, still the last game against Wales, has constantly changed. And I think that, I really don't know, but I think that might be because we were just millimeters off timing or a little bit of overthrow from Bongi or Malcolm. So it might be because we didn't have a constant number 5 who operates the line-out each and every week, just for the timing purposes. That was the thing that I thought that maybe had an effect on it.
Yeah.
I think that
And the variations as well, because a
that
lot
the
of
variations,
stuff that we
because I
saw
think we moved from 5 men from 4 men to 5 men now, so that's also, I want to say, something new.
in a tricky place
But
as well.
if you now on the other side and you are the opposition, you can't target the Springboks at the scrum. So what other set piece can you target them at? Lineouts. So I think that's what team goes and say, listen here, we'll give you scrums. There's nothing we can do about it. But maybe at lineout we'll come at you. And maybe that, together with our lineout operator that's changing, together with our variations at the lineout of 6 months, 5 months, or whatever. I think it's a combination of those 3 things that might happen.
Makes a big difference, yeah. 52 players been used this season. It's simple when it comes to 2023, but we're moving on to this year and moving on to 2027. Did we get better or did we get by? Because it's also important for us that we're looking at moving forward. I know the World Cup is still far, far away from now, but are we improving? Or because of the age level as well, sitting with the 30 club boys, are we improving, or are we just trying to get the victories and get it to 11 or 12 or 13 out of 13?
So let's take a step back and we look at, we are this team, we're winning. And we are the best Springbok team, or this is the best Springbok team of our generation. But are we dominating teams? And I think that's, in there is a little bit of detail. So we've beaten Ireland, I think, the first test with, 3 points, 4 points. The big teams, I'm talking about the teams. New Zealand, 4 points and then 6 points.
Yeah.
It could have gone anyway. Ireland, 29-20. Yes, it wasn't that. Not Ireland, England. It wasn't that big. We haven't played France yet. RG, we lost against RG then. Yes, we gave them a hiding. So now, in looking at that, we've got this massive squad who's been together for 6 years. But we're talking about this dominance. We're talking about this dominance, but it is in winning. It is not in dominating teams, in those big teams. Yes, we've beaten Argentina, but we haven't given a big team a proper club for a long time. If you look at the squad now, getting to a World Cup, 24 out of that, the current squad is going to be past 32 years old.
Yeah.
we're talking about we used 51 players. Out of the 51 players, I think we used there was 299 available tests.
Yes.
The young guys, apart from Kurtley, Fassi, Kanan, your normal guys, out of that, they only played 51 tests out of that 219, which gives you a 17% or 17% average. So if you look at that average, so out of all the tests in South Africa that we could have played, test caps we could have given, only 17% of that went to youngsters. So we say we used 51 players, but the bulk of our tests, what is that now? That plus the other 12%. The bulk of our 60%, 70% test is played by Sia. These guys are going to be older than 52. So yes, we say we played 52 players and it's a good thing to put in our headline. But if we go into detail, those guys hasn't played more than 5, 6. Some of them played one test. Some of them played, yes, Jarek played 8. One or Keir played 8. But the rest of the guys didn't play that much test.
Ito played 1, Krappy played 1 or 2. Jordan actually got 1 or 2.
So the number 52 sounds
nice,
brilliant. But if you look into the detail, they played 17% of those tests that was available for them to play.
Whose responsibility is that, boys? Is it the guys playing at URC level to convince Rassie? Or is it Coach Rassie having a bit more kind of a leeway in saying, I'm going to go on a leap of faith with a generation like we spoke the last episode we had you on, where there's a crop of players that comes from URC.
Yep.
Predominantly the squad is based and rooted in Super Rugby, and now we're going to give this new URC generation trust with the next Springbok baton that we're handing over. Is it responsibility, does it lie with the players, or maybe Coach Rassie just having a bit more of a...
I think Coach Rassie, I think he's got a plan, and we all know with Rassie there's always a plan. And if you look at it, he didn't even look at 2024. He looked at 2024, 5, 6, and 7. So he's got a plan for all 3 years.
Yep.
So he probably saw, listen here, let's show the world we're dominant after the Rugby World Cup for some reason. Next year we might try a couple of games, because looking at Italy coming next year, looking at a couple of other games, and see where we at for New Zealand. Go strong against New Zealand when New Zealand comes for that a couple of tests, 2026, and then looking at the World Cup. That might be a plan, but also in still saying, it might be the plan for 2027, but there's also 2028 when the guys are getting 37. A lot of those guys are going to be 37 when it comes to 2028. Where do you see the future now? How are we implementing in getting a Epel van der Merwe ready to be the next Cheslin Colby, a Krappy, or all the youngsters coming through, Jan Hendrik Wessels and the boys we're looking at for 2028?
So firstly, looking at it in isolation, what's Rassie Erasmus's mandate now to win the next World Cup? So for 2028, he can't think too far ahead, because no one's going to give him the job again if it's, you lost in the quarterfinals. But you've blended 50 other players, or you've blood in 50 other players. Well done. So I think first and foremost, he wants to win the next World Cup. I think this year, in my personal opinion, he played these guys to make sure, listen here, he's covering the base. They understand how Tony plays. They've gone through a full year. Next year we might see, because it's Italy, twice Georgia, then we probably have another shot at Australia. So it's 5 tests where you can, I don't know, my Australia might be better next year, but I don't think to a level where we need to put in our A team yet. Might not be. So he's going to have 5 tests to test them. Then the decision is going to be going to New Zealand. Are we going to go to beat them, or we're going to give Sasha and all these boys a fire baptism in there and see, listen here, can you make it or can you not make it? That's 7 tests. And then the end of the year, I think it's next year, we might play Ireland, we might play France, and then bring out the big guns again. He also talked about prolonging those guys' career. So next year is going to be interesting. I think 2028 is not in his mindset of what's going to happen, what's going to be left after the World Cup. I don't think that's his worry.
But isn't that important? Especially for the new coach taking over.
But you have a once in... So think about this. You have a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to win 3 World Cups in a row. Why would you think about anything else than winning the World Cup?
Because you didn't even know if you...
We say this is the best generation ever. Are we ever going to see this again? So why would you now think about 32 if you've got an opportunity right in front of you? And we'll look at that. We'll be Wales. If we win 3 in a row, he don't mind if we are Wales.
That's
2028 or whatever. But this is the cherry on the cake. But this is the geelwortel.
And it's
Vat toe graaf en skep.
But is it a concern, especially when it comes to the green and gold? Because if you look at not only that, you've got to look at what the plans is for 2027, but you look at the youngsters as well, the SN20 boys. Is there guys coming through in the next couple of years? Look at the SA7s, because usually back in the day, we used the SA7s also to blood 19, 20, 21-year-olds to be a Springbok in a couple of seasons. We don't have that anymore. Now we don't have maybe something for 2028 going forward. Where do we stand?
Look, I'm not going to put that on Rassi's plate.
But he's the director of rugby also.
Fair enough. I feel like the guys who's coaching at URC also has a responsibility of developing their own young group. Obviously, winning dominates our thinking.
Yes.
So that clouds our judgment. So we not risk it, but blooding players constantly. When we had Franco, he said he used through 4 weeks, he used 38 players. Whether he won or lost, that was his plan.
Yes. To
play from the start, to make sure that he gets. Maybe that is a mandate that has to go to the URC coaches, saying, boys, we need 3 or 4 under 19 players that needs to play throughout the URC.
But then again, he plays, but then you go pick, what's his name, Nicolas Jansen van Reesburg from Montpellier. So in terms of selection policy, we also need to, I won't say take a stand on that, but now we suddenly say, okay, URC, bring him through. Yes, we've got Jari, yes, we've got Cameron Hanekom. But what if he decides, listen, he's going to take Trokkie? Because that's what, and that's also like, and I know they've got a clear plan on what they want to do. But in terms of that, we need to understand also like, am I the next guy in line? Yes, it's never given to play for the Springboks. It must never be, I'm not going to say you're going to play for the Springboks. But like, you need to know, like, am I the next guy in the mix, or might someone pop out there in France and suddenly Jasper Wieser's back, played for the Cheetahs, haven't played the URC franchise. Next thing is the Springbok number 8. Yes, he's a good rugby player, but that kind of pathways, I'm not sure how we look at that.
There's a lot to think about.
Ek like het 'n soepdebat, ek like it.
Yeah.
Die kop ook stamp.
Yeah, because I mean, we're passionate about the Springboks, we're passionate about the green and gold, we're passionate about South Africa, and these are the questions we need to ask. I mean, we can't always, because as a coach as well, I put my coach's hats on, sometimes if you win, you don't look at the stuff that troubles that's in front of you. But winning makes it clear. So these are the things that we need to look at when it comes to these years. But for now, we must enjoy what we have. I mean, we had an incredible year. We only lost 2 games, and I mean, those 2 games was a drop goal, and the other one was a penalty in the last minute. So incredible year for the Springboks, and May 2026. Be the 2025, 2026 be the same, yeah.
And Ruckus, how do we support this current group of Springboks that we're so proud of? Okay, jy koop Bomb Squad bier. Jy koop Trevor Nyankane gin, okay? Jy koop Faffies. Or support ons bokke deur hulle goedjies te koop in die festive season. Okay? Hy's a great guy. That's how we support our bokke, by supporting their boys.
100%, yeah. But quickly, we got to cover one point, and that's your favorite department, laws. Just quickly, we've seen a couple of things. We've seen a contestable that's in whose favor is that. We've seen the scrums that's being knocked back a bit, blockers and these type of things. What have you guys picked up? Is it in our favor? Is it good for the game?
The first one, the first law that changed it, I love the red card one, the 20-minute red card.
I'm in the same boat, yeah.
I feel like it
makes it fair.
It creates the contest for longer. That one I like. I like the scrum half box kick where they've shortened the time of the kick to happen. I would like it to be shortened even more.
5 seconds shorter?
It's not 5 seconds. It's way longer than 5 seconds. Okay. They still call use it, and the ref never wants to make that call. If we can shorten that time, we'll have more ball in play, more entertainment. So that's the 2 ones that definitely stood out to me so far, the changes.
But the biggest one is that contestable one. No blockers anymore, so there's that 50-50 clash in the air. And we know when it comes to South Africa, that's our bread and butter. And with the 4 wingers we have, they're incredible with it. What's your thoughts on those?
I'm frustrated when watching rugby at the moment, because I do not know, is it the law? Is it the interpretation of the referee? Does he see it differently? Should he see it that way? Because you look at some games and you're like, I really don't understand the game anymore. Not the game as a whole, but certain aspects. Like, is it really the law, or is it I see it like this, so I'll blow it like this? And that's where sometimes we lose a bit of people or fans not understanding it. World Rugby's got a mandate, or not a mandate, agenda, maybe not an agenda, in terms of to make this game entertaining.
Yes.
But they're putting so much pressure on these referees to make the game entertaining Because now, if you look at the breakdown, say for instance, I'm a coach now and I tell, listen, whenever you hit the breakdown, just try and cause havoc. So if I'm the referee or on the other side, I don't want to slow this game down. I don't want to make sure, blow for every penalty. So now suddenly you let certain things just go and slip. But then next week there's a review and this guy's not happy and this guy's not happy. And I'm like, should you have blown that? Yeah, it was a penalty, but yes, we need to entertain the people. So we're not going to be a penalty. So I think they're putting a lot of pressure on these referees to make this game entertaining, but still apply the law. So I think World Rugby must make a decision. Is it entertainment or is it applying the law in that instance? The thing with the high ball kicking, it's I won't say it's good for the contest. But now suddenly this guy, I'm running back. Now suddenly I realize that happened with Rico Ioane at the weekend.
Yes.
Now he's running back and suddenly he realized I should get out of the way. Now he gets out of the way. This guy runs.
Penalty.
And the same with, this is a basic principle, but normally if you're a winger behind the locks stand there and like, it looks like they're going to catch it, but they're not sure and you're like a backup at the back and it eventually at the last moment the lock's not getting it. And now you catch it, but he's in the way. And now it's a penalty. So, but then again, on that, consistency with the rule. We started off with putting the ball straight in the scrum. Where's that gone? We started with not touching the 9. Now they counteract and now you look at Ireland, they say counteract from the back. They counteract, they swing their body and they fall on top. Just be consistent. Just say we're going to blow this rule for the next 4 years or whatever. Not for 3 months. I promise you, we're going to watch Six Nations. And that block rule is not going to be there anymore. And that is what confuses people. And now the poor old referee is like, should I? Is it now a penalty? Yes, I know the rule, but this doesn't look entertaining enough to do this. So play on. You look at, and I don't want to shame any referee. You look at Andrew Brace. Hy lyk soos 'n verkleurde mannetjie in 'n smarty box. I promise you, there's times that he's not even sure what's happening, and not to knock referees because I know it's a club rugby. It's a tough gig.
It's a tough gig.
But I mean, the pressure they put on these referees, it's uncalled for, man.
I like what he said, partner. Now maybe we're keeping a set of laws consistent over a few years.
There got to be a few years because
at least a year.
With this blocking system for 5 years, the guys train that skill and it's part of a habit now. Now they have to lose that skill.
And then apply the rule everywhere. Now suddenly, I think the first game, I don't know who the All Blacks played. Their first game. The guy throws in skew and he blows. And we're like, that shouldn't be skew. The new rule is if they contest. They're like, no, we're not using that rule here. Now you're like, but some rules are here, some rules are there. So how do I keep up with the game? If in Super Rugby, the 9 can't come past the tunnel. Now you come end of the year, the 9, you're like...
You can defend
World Rugby is making this thing way too difficult.
But boys, I watched this new laws and I think to myself, Bjorn Basson will thrive. Bjorn Basson would thrive.
He's actually the best I've ever seen in my life. Even up until today.
He would absolutely thrive in this blocking.
Lampies. He was the best. Lampies was the best at that.
Lampies could make any poor kick a good kick. He was unbelievable.
And I mean, we're wrapping up international rugby for this season. There's a lot of other rugby coming up. Let's just quickly go through the fixtures as well for this weekend. A couple of big games coming up. It's Sharks versus Stormers at 5 o'clock this weekend. Connacht versus Bulls at 7:30. We've got Munster versus Lions. A late one, 25 to 10 o'clock. But then also one international game. It's Ireland versus Australia at 5 o'clock. Gents, excited to see you. Are getting back into swings again before we get to the Investic Champions Cup?
For 1 week.
For 1 week. It's about take, give and take, give and take. Huh? At all times.
It's still weird to me, partner. There's this URC, then Investic Champions Cup, then it's this, then it's Carrick.
Then it's Christmas.
Then I'm still finding my feet.
It's a lot of things going on.
And then it's Christmas, and then it's New Year, and then they're still playing.
Are you too happy with the Bulls? Are you happy with the Bulls and Stormers so far? Good to see the Lions trying to get to the top 8.
The Lions are.
I believe the Lions has got an opportunity this weekend against Munster. Munster hasn't been off to a brilliant start. Coach got fired. So Lions got a fantastic opportunity up against Munster to get a win. For our Bulls, a tricky tour. Connacht away for 4G pitch, then playing Saracens the weeks after that. Also 4G pitch. in winter. So
lot going on.
winnable games, but tricky, very tricky games.
Referees.
Yeah.
Referees, maybe.
But one question for you guys, or two questions, in terms of Springboks, how do you see the Springboks next year or going forward? And then Coach of the Year. That's my
For us.
Coach of the year for next year.
No, Coach of the Year.
This year.
The awards that's
The awards.
passed. That's passed.
So for this season, Jerome Dalet was it?
Daret.
Daret from France, sevens. Personal opinion, yes, a lot of things going on with Rassi as to win it, but I feel like what Daret actually done with the sevens team, you know, they were nowhere. For me, they were nowhere as a sevens team when it comes to the
Is it
sevens.
now the point or the coach? Because he's been the coach for a while. But
He's been a coach for a while, but Dupont came in, he made a difference. He made a couple of other changes as well. They kept the senior play. That's why Dupont played off the bench a little bit. I could give it to him in the sense of taking him from nowhere, getting there, getting a World Series title, getting the Olympic gold medal that they haven't been. They were never a contender. But I must also give, we all know Rassi did an incredible job. 11 out of 13 was phenomenal. And Rassi's always been the trendsetter when it comes to coaching, you know, being in your head a little bit. But for me, it was a 50-50, but I don't mind that getting it.
No, I'm totally against you, Pat. I don't agree with you. I believe 15th game is still the toughest competition in rugby. The Springboks obviously won the rugby championship. We went undefeated end of the year tour. We lost 2 games only by 1 point each. And the Boks in a rugby world that is obviously way closer than what it always used to be in the past. The Boks were still winning games. 11 out of 13. Rassi Riasmus, definitely coach of the year.
It's very debatable saying that the 15th is the toughest competition because you've played a little bit of sevens. Sevens is quite a tough couple of weeks because you have to play 3 games, especially when it's a 3-day tournament as well. You have to play 3 games in a day where you play a game, you get yourself ready for hour up for the next one, especially when you get older as well. But I mean, it's like I said, it is debatable. The intensity with sevens, the physicality and stuff with the sevens is also just as tough as the 15 boys.
But I think 2 things in that quickly. The coach, is it the coach or Dupont? Because we can only give one of them an award. Because we say...
It's the coach because he picked Dupont.
No, Dupont wanted to play well.
No, but he still had to pick him.
Yeah, he still had to pick him.
Yeah.
But I mean, who's going to say no?
Yeah, understandable because he's very good.
If Brian Abana comes to the sevens, back in the day, who's going to say no?
Yeah.
So now we've given an award to the sevens, but now we double award them. So the coach says,
and the player,
for 19 years, whatever it is, he's been part of it for maybe 4 years. He hasn't won anything, and now the Pond comes. So now we reward the Pond and we reward him. Back on the thing with Rassi, I think we as South Africans, we were, and I don't want to be this guy, we were never liked. People don't really like us. We go to Twickenham, there's South African support. We go to Perth, you guys have been there. There's South African support. There's not Kiwis and Australians coming to watch South Africans. So we must never get confused with what Rassi and the Springboks means to South Africa and what it should mean out there. So a lot of people say we should get the awards and we should get this out there. The people out there do not really see us. Yes, there's some rugby guys that see us that way, but the other people don't really see us in that way. He's doing everything that defies rugby. He puts a 7-1 split on. He puts in lights. He's a water carrier. Everywhere he can take a shortcut, he takes a shortcut. And not in that terms, but
a smart cut.
So everything he does, he challenges world rugby and all the other nations. You get there, you know you're not going to scrum against the Springboks. It made the Springboks so mean that you don't actually want to play against them. And now suddenly we as South Africans expect everybody to clap hands and say, here's the awards. They're not going to do that. But for us, embrace the Springboks within South Africa. If they don't want to give us awards, don't give us awards. We don't care. We will be happy with the Springboks in South Africa. We'll celebrate them. We'll give them awards. But do not look for a tap on the back from outside. We might not get it, and we'll get frustrated. We'll fall into that trap, and we'll do certain things. That's my story.
No, 100%. Yeah, and it's a full story. I mean, we can sit here and talk for hours. I mean, Gio, for this episode, we actually need an hour and a half. But thank you very much for making the time. I know you're busy doing a lot of things, a lot of numbers and stuff like that. But thank you for making the time. You're part of the furniture now, okay? You're sitting here, it's almost like John Cena. He's part of the furniture, okay?
Can't see me.
Can't see me, yeah.
There's no chair. It's just me.
We're just waiting for that payroll or something. But we'll get there as well. But thank you for making the time, yeah. And yeah, hopefully we'll see you, definite devs when it comes to 2025. Yeah.
Always good to be as always good to share my bit of knowledge that I have got. I always have my own type of mind. It doesn't always make sense, but thank you guys for this opportunity.
We love it, yeah.
And also to you guys, shout out, episode 72.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
And you're watching
Guys,
all
and
72. You've
yeah.
cleared all 72.
Some racks. Some I was concussed. Someone that was concussed. I couldn't watch.
He's like the referee this year now. He lets it breathe.
But well done on you
thanks.
guys. I mean, that's incredible. 72 and still going strong. Incredible, guys.
I appreciate it, yeah. We got a youngster coming up. We got Riley Norton up next. So, Gio, thanks for making the time. Let's get to the youngster because maybe he doesn't have that patience, okay? Up next, guys, Riley Norton. Let's go.
Ruckers, settle down. I don't want to make him feel uncomfortable, but we have schoolboy sensation on your number one rugby podcast, Riley Norton. Young man, welcome to the number one rugby podcast. First of all, how are we doing? Is exams done? What's happening?
Exams are done. Finished yesterday, so I'm a happy man. I'm a free man. And yeah, thank you so much for having me on the podcast. I've watched many episodes, and yeah, it's a big honor for me to be here.
We love that. And after exams, what actually happens? Eh? Is it a movie night or pajama parties? Or?
No, the guys are very excited. A couple of them said it was the best day of their lives, walking out the exam hall with their arms in the air. But we just went for actually a braai at my house, funny enough, with all my close mates. And nothing too hectic, but just enjoyed it, reflected on a really special journey. And it was just great to end it off.
And that's my thing. Has it sunk in yet that you're done with school now?
No, it hasn't at all.
No,
it hasn't. I was actually telling my mates yesterday, it doesn't feel like we're done. I was expecting this massive euphoria of I'm so happy, it's the greatest thing. And then, you're happy, you feel it, but it doesn't really sink in, and it hasn't. So I know it's a bit of a weird feeling, but I'm sure in the next couple of days when I sit at home and I look at other guys go to school, then it will be like, okay, I'm actually done and dusted. Hopefully, we'll wait for
I was just about to ask, how are we feeling about the end of the matric exams? Are you happy with how it went?
No, I'm happy with how it went, yeah. No, I think... I don't want to speak too soon because sometimes you finish a paper and you say that was the best paper I've ever written, and then you get your marks back and you be like, flip, didn't go as well as I thought.
But do you still remember your matric? How did you feel after you were done with matric?
Let's not go there.
Nervous.
Nervous indeed.
Do you guys still get yours in the newspaper? How does the matric results work now?
No, so apparently you do get on the newspaper. So you get your code that you get. It's quite a long code, and then if you get I think it's this distinction in any of the subjects, then it goes on the newspaper, Die Burger or something like that, some local newspaper, and then you'll look for how many distinctions you have and everything like that. I think if you unfortunately do not pass, then they'll let you know earlier.
Oh, really?
Yes, and then I think the government or the school calls you and said, look, you didn't make it, and then we go and fetch our report cards, I think, midway through January. So we'll go back in our old boy clothes with our ties, white shirts, and go and collect our physical report cards.
Okay.
So special, eh?
It's interesting.
It's a change here.
No, it's very cool.
And also, Riley, just talk us through the history being made. Obviously, it's only you one of four that actually achieved the stuff that you have achieved in SA Schools Cricket and SA Schools Rugby, and even under 19 as well. Talk me through 2023 and also 2024.
No, Flip, it was a very, very special journey for me. The last 2 years have been, way more than I ever imagined. I'm very lucky with the people I have around me. I have an incredible support system that really pushed me, at junior levels when I thought I was going to single out a sport and be like, okay, I'm done now. I got a lot of pressure from different coaches at times. My family and just my friends around me told me, just carry on going. Pursue them both for as long as possible. You still love them both the same. And then to play SA Schools Rugby and SA Schools Cricket was just a cherry on the top for me. It was just, I love playing sport. It's my passion. It's my hobby. It's what I want to do with my life. And just the achievements was just a great side note. But it was very, very special for me to experience those things.
And Riley, we had Sasa on last week and the thing he spoke about is the complementary part between the different sport codes. Do you believe cricket's ability for you being an all-rounder played a part in you playing lock and blindside flank, the skill sets you picked up from both sports?
Yeah, no, definitely. I think cricket, almost the biggest thing, I actually watched Sasha's episode and he spoke about patience and just mentally as well. I think cricket, you stand in the sun there, you're there for way longer than you are in a rugby game. Rugby game's quick, short, intensity, everything. Cricket's a lot more mellow, but a lot more skillful in a way. You have to be a lot more mentally stronger, in my opinion, for longer periods of time. And I think that's really helped me in rugby as well, experiencing different things in cricket and then, trying to implement them in rugby in sort of a different way, in a quicker way. But definitely the hand-eye coordination, with line-outs, with catching, I saw like the line-out lab on Instagram the other day. I saw one of their stories and they said, the best thing for line-out jumpers that they can do is catch, like slip catching. So, being exposed to all of that and then taking that to the rugby field, I have no doubt in my mind it was a massive factor.
Yeah,
definitely.
And positions for cricket and rugby, what is it?
So in terms of cricket, what do I do?
Yeah.
So I'm an all-rounder, more bowling all-rounder.
Okay.
So usually open the bowling. For S under 19, I bowled first change some of the games. And then bat probably 5 at school. And then, when I got to provincial and national level, probably a little bit lower down, 7, 8 around there.
And pace? What was the pace like?
I don't know.
160?
I wish. No, I think probably around high 120s if I had to guess. There wasn't actually speed guns. I was actually really excited to actually play at a World Cup at home and see my speed. But there actually weren't any speed guns, which was disappointing for me to see. But if I had to guess, probably high 120s, low 130s on a good day. If my rhythm's there and everything's going well. But I'm not actually 100% sure.
In rugby as well, is it lock and flank as well? And the other question as well, talk us through the season for you this year in terms of Paul Roos. You guys have done an incredible season, and also Western Province and SS schools and how the whole journey went.
Yeah, no, Flip. When we actually sat down at the start of the season, we said it was 33 years since Paul Roos has been unbeaten, something like that. And actually, Gert Kemp, who plays 7 flank for us, his dad was the last unbeaten captain. So it was like a generational thing. So his son was now on the first team. And we sat down at our pre-season camp in Bredasdorp, funny enough. It wasn't Bredasdorp. It was somewhere. But it was isolated. And we said, look, this year we want to go and try and create history again. We want to play for something bigger than ourselves. We want to play for the old boys. We want to play for Stellenbosch as a community. And really just give ourselves the best opportunity to have an unbeaten season. Of course, that wasn't the only goal because let's say you lose your first game and that's your whole season done. So it was something in the background that we really thought about, but we just took it game for game. And then, to finish beating Grey Bloom at home and just seeing how happy it made Stellenbosch and just the community around was really, really special. So it still hasn't sunk in, just like me finishing matric. I think maybe in a few years' time when we maybe go and watch a game or we sit down and have a reunion or something like that, then we'll really sink in how special this year was. But again, the people that were in the team, just the personalities, the coaches, it was a massive group effort, the parents, everything. So it was very special.
How tough, obviously, we've played schoolboy rugby long ago. How tough is it in today's life to go through a season unbeaten? That week-to-week pounding, playing the biggest sides in the country.
The Gums in the boys' size.
Every weekend. How tough was it to get that achievement?
No, it definitely was tough because I think the schoolboy rugby at the moment is so competitive. There's not one easy game that you go to on a Saturday and you're we are definitely going to win. I can maybe count 1 or 2 teams that you really, really feel confident that this is going to be a win. But each game presents different challenges, and I think that's almost the hardest thing about having an unbeaten schoolboy season is it's very easy at such a young age to also not take a game seriously and not show up, etc. So for us to do that on a frequent basis every weekend is what made it more special. And we did have hiccups. We had very close games, 1-pointers to schools that we shouldn't have even been close to, and that would have been the make or break with the season. But I felt as the season went by, we started connecting like any team does. We spent more time together. We understood each other's roles better. And then from there, as the season went on, it just got better and better and better.
Well, you're the captain of the...
I was, yes.
Ooh, the Spartan is the speeches, man. Come on, boys. Today, they're going to shake their cage today.
No, but it wasn't me alone. I promise you, the leadership, just all the leaders in the team, every single person from 1 to 15 was a leader in their own right. And that's what I think made it so special. A lot of people say, if there's too many leaders in a team, it can cause problems. And I think with this side, we all wanted a common goal and we were all willing to bring our own effort. And I think that's what was almost the make or break. And that's what, separated us a little bit.
And are you a hostel boy? Do you stay with the parents still? How does that work?
So that was a funny story. So I stay probably 5 minutes away from the school in Dubois. Okay. So I was always a day scholar. I got a lot of flack because all of my mates are hostel boys. And they said, you're actually not part of the school if you're not in hostel, etc. And then, funny enough, when I became head boy of Paul Roos, I decided, flip, with everything going on, it might be a bit easier if I joined the hostel and just experience something for the last year and a half. So halfway through grade 11, I joined hostel. One of the best decisions I ever made. I wasn't there, as frequently as some of the other boys leaving, etc. But just to experience another side of the school and just understand almost the backbone of what a school is the hostel, I feel. And I think also 12 out of the 15 boys in the Paul Roos first team rugby were hostel boys. And that's what almost brought us closer, is that you walk to training, you walk back, you eat together, you spend time at study together. In the evenings, you're talking, and that's what just brings us closer and closer and closer, is that we're surrounded by each other the whole time. So I think that was also a big factor. But so that was
were you a hostel boy?
I'm a hostel boy too.
Is the naughty version?
Went to Nico, and I'm still friends currently with the hostel boys. And like you just said now, it's that bond where you complain about the same stuff.
The food.
The food is terrible. That's why like you staying 5 minutes away. Well done on that. Because the food is honestly horrendous.
No, but my parents, I had to convince them because they weren't, of course, keen. 5 minutes away, what's the point? But I just said, please just let me experience this. I don't want to have any regrets when I leave high school. I just want to make sure that I experience everything, even if I don't enjoy it. At least I know when I left. I gave myself the opportunity to experience everything and just see things from different aspects and perspectives as well.
And just a taste, especially when you want to go to university and stuff like that, then you're going to stay outside, eh?
Exactly. Yeah, no, 100%. Like next year, I'll go to hostel again at Marty's. So,
really? Okay.
Yes. So I've experienced it a little bit now. And I'm still, keen and excited to experience more of it. So now I'm going to go into hostel at Marty's as well.
Yeah, so next year you're going to Marty's, so studying...
BCom Investment Management.
Okay, cool.
Okay,
Yes.
wait, stop there, Riley. Not so quick over...
ABCs, DBS.
What is that? What can you eventually
And I'm like,
become?
I know.
What can you eventually become with that degree?
I don't know. I'm hoping an investor, some sort of thing like that. A fund manager, I don't know. So I've always been interested on the side in investments and looking at the markets and all of this stuff. Not very in depth, but just it has been
Square, that type of vibe.
Yes, exactly, a little bit. But so I decided I was going to do maybe a BAc. I was thinking about that, but just with the rugby, I thought it might be a bit tough. I know people have done it. There's been numerous people to even study harder things, but next year I really want to give the rugby a full go. That's what I want to do. So I want to get a degree. My parents have always said it's important, and I agree to just have something on the back. You never know what happens if you get an injury, etc. And especially to get it from a great university like Marty's is also something good. So I'm going to see if I can complete that. But next year is going to be, the studies will have to almost take a little bit of a backseat. And rugby, I'm going to give a full go.
Okay, cool, yeah.
Yes.
Because, the history you've made, you one of four. It was Herschel Gibbs,
Connie Jainkies.
Conrad Jainkies, and Rwanda Swart. Only a couple of those boys that played SA schools for rugby and cricket. And you probably get this question a lot where you have to choose. And it looks like you kind of decided, listen, I'm going to give rugby a go.
Yes, no. Cricket, I owe a lot to cricket, I think, because of what it's done for me, my personality, my life, and what it did for me in rugby as well. But I was always so stuck in between, Cricket season, I said, no, I know what I'm going to do. It's cricket, 100%. I'm going to do cricket. Then the rugby season was like, okay, cricket is rugby. That's what I want to do now. And it just went over and over for legit 11 years of my schooling career from grade 1 to 11. That was it. And then the matric, I got to experience the Cricket World Cup, of course, at home, which was an unbelievable experience, something that I'll really treasure. And then I got to experience the rugby part as well, playing against Ireland, playing against England, etc. And just the love I have for rugby and the passion, the brotherhood and the different backgrounds coming together, the culture, playing for South Africa. When I sing that national anthem for the first time, I just knew that this is what I want to pursue, this is what I want to do, and it's just the love of rugby. So it was a very tough decision, but probably halfway through this year, start of matric, I started leaning towards it, and I thought, no.
It's going to happen somewhere.
It has to, And I think, if you don't, a lot of guys are specialized early and they get proper pre-seasons, proper off-seasons, etc. I didn't really have that, and I didn't regret it. I loved going from season to season and just being full and busy. But I think for my body, preparing to go into a senior environment, getting a bit bigger as a lock, as a blindside flanker, you need to pick up a bit of size, maybe get a bit quicker as well, but slow still. So working box on the field, so doing some speed training now and then, and trying to get a bit quicker. But so I said, let me play cricket at the start of the year, then play rugby, and then give this last couple of months before I join the senior environment or go out of school to really focus on my body, focus on improving myself and almost having a proper off season, which I've never had.
I think I've told Juan and on the show for the Ruckers many a time, I'm a firm believer in doing multiple sports. I'm not a believer, Riley, in being, especially at school where you are currently at, just picking one sport. Because you need that other sports to develop certain aspects. You can get bigger.
It's going to come.
That will come. But the skills you picked up from cricket, you'll never be able to get there again.
I agree.
So that's why I've always been, and I know people are fascinated with size? Especially in South Africa.
Yeah, bench press.
Bench press and with the numbers when it comes to testing, which is a big thing, and I don't think you have to worry about that. I think you got a lot of time to gather that. If we look at current Springbok players, it's players that play not with we're not this massive
biceps.
It will come, yeah.
So that will come. The decision, it sounds like you're at peace.
Yes. For now, I'm at peace, 100%.
Decision,
It was a very tough decision, I must say, but I really feel like I've made the right decision for me personally. My parents didn't put any pressure on me. If I think in the back of my mom's head, she probably wanted me to go cricket, a bit of the safer option long term. She always says she wants to do Pilates in India. If I ever made the IPL, she put more pressure on me to make the IPL because she wanted to go do Pilates in India than I did on myself. But I'm really content with my decision, and I'm really excited for rugby and everything that it has to offer. It's just, there's nothing like it, really.
Riley, my next question, we can take it out if we have to, but I need to ask this, Ruckers. I have to. The IPL money. When I watched it this week, I watched the auction. I was
crazy.
like, oh my gosh.
No.
This is life changing.
Yes.
One auction can change your life. It is like that. And I always go, the currencies are different. So I always go and put the crore, whatever, the Indian into the rand, just see how much these guys are earning. And it is unbelievable.
Crazy,
You got like guys that I played with. Quena Mapaka was my opening bowler at the Under-19 World Cup, and he just got bought in the IPL for the second year, and he's just finished matric. So the IPL money and money around cricket in general is amazing, but you have to be certain that you're going to make it to the IPL as well. There's only 4 overseas players that can play in a like 11 in XI for a specific game.
Squad.
So there is more in the squad, but it's very it's the best of the best overseas players playing in the IPL. So it was definitely something I thought about when I played cricket. It's like, geez, if I can make the IPL, that would be unbelievable.
Just
that
one
atmosphere.
One season
and done. Hang up the boots. No, but geez, I'm hearing that maybe in America they're starting sort of like a rugby IPL coming up now. So
but don't look back. You've made your bet now. You've made it a season.
You guys are convincing me maybe to change the IPL.
This guy.
I'm just a massive cricket lover, Riley.
It is incredible to watch. Me too.
Wicketkeeper.
I was wicketkeeper batsman,
I can
but
see
never at that level. I couldn't score 100 to save my life. And at Toniqua, we were good, but we could never compete with the Cape Town schools.
Yeah, but the Cape Town schools.
But the scrummers and the wicketkeepers.
I was about to say the comments, the chirping behind.
That was my best part.
The chirping.
My banter was amazing.
I can believe that, 100%. You're in the batsman's ear.
I think it was the MTN under 17 week that it was called MTN back then.
Yes.
And the umpire had to stop the game and told me, son, if you continue in this manner, I'm going to kick you off the field.
Is it?
Yeah. But we only had 1 wicket, and that was my only thing I could revert to is becoming personal. But Ruckers, I'm a changed man.
You're a changed man.
I'm a changed man, Riley.
When the game got tough, really brought out different comments.
How's your banter on the cricket field? Was it?
It's all right.
He's a head boy. He's focused.
I'm quite a friendly guy. Like, I don't really, some guys like to get into the contest. It feels like it makes them play better. But for me, I like to play it in a decently good spirit, But of course, if I'm not against, having a few chirps, a bit banter. It's part of the game. It's what makes it interesting. Imagine if everyone was just so kind to each other on a cricket field, it wouldn't be very interesting. So when guys do have a chirp and in a bit of an argument and a bit of, conflict, I enjoy it. I like being a part of it as well. But I don't usually start it,
Okay.
So if someone's like dishing it out, then, maybe you'll join.
You got to give it back.
You got to give it back.
Yeah,
you have
to stand for something.
Exactly.
And the wicket keeper to start that stuff.
Exactly. I played in quite a calm, free spirit, but I really don't mind if guys want to start talking and etc. like that. It's quite interesting.
And Riley, playing for the first team of Paul Roos, one of the best rugby schools in South Africa. How does a week look in terms of preparation when it comes to in the middle of the heart of the season?
Yeah, so it is quite a busy week, if I'm being honest. So probably Saturday you'll play the game, Sunday you'll have off, and then Monday afternoon you'll have a flush and a light gym session. usually a review of the Saturday as well, what went right, what went wrong. And then Tuesday morning, usually our morning gym session.
Before school.
Before school. It's an early one. You struggle to keep awake during school. I promise you, geez, the guys who don't take the academics seriously, you just see them sleeping in all the classes. You check the rugby boys. Because you have to wake up decently early. The thing starts at 6 in the morning. So guys who live far, maybe 5:30 wake up, and then a full school day. And then the Tuesday is also the longest field session. So it'll probably be close to a 2-hour field session, which is also probably contact on that day. Wednesday we have off. Thursday we have a primer gym session for the Saturday, and then you go into a field session. Friday after school, quick catch-up video on the Saturday's game, the moves you want to run, the different kicking plays, the opposition, what they're going to bring, just a last little recap. Then we'll have a jersey presentation, and then captains, Saturday, game day.
Okay, so you are well suited for professional rugby, because that is exactly what professional rugby is about.
Really?
And the gyms and stuff as well. Obviously at school.
Yes. No, so we actually got a new gym probably, I think, a year ago, a couple of months ago, everything got finalized, but it's been a massive improvement. So there's 2 physios now at school that work for Paul Roos, the doctor. So it's it is quite professional for a schoolboy system. And then the gym is unbelievable, really, the equipment and just everything, it's very professional.
I remember 2006 I used to gym there in the rugby academy.
Plain,
yes,
small,
that little building.
Riley only used to do arms,
bench press.
Bench press and arms. That's the only thing he used to do.
No, so it is unbelievable how professional schoolboy rugby in South Africa is, really.
Riley, 18 years old. Okay, and the expectation is massive. I mean, you're 1 out of 4. And if we look at the other 3 guys, 1 is a Springbok, 2 has played for Proteas as well. And you also being a leader, being a head boy, being a captain for a lot of great teams and the SS schools and all these. What is the expectation for the next couple of years? Where do you see yourself? And not only that, but also the pressure from outside. I mean, looking at those 4 guys.
No, so I know probably expectation and pressure will always be there, but I really don't mind it. I enjoy it almost. I like being, in those moments, in the high pressure situations. It feels to me like it drives me to carry on going, and also the expectation, and that's something that you're going to get with sport. If you play professional sport, senior sport, it's always going to be there, and especially in a country like South Africa where you have such strong supporters, such people that love our country, love the Springboks, it's always going to be there. But I don't mind it, I think just having that right support structure around you, that you can trust people, talk to people whenever you need some help. But my personal expectations, I'm going to Western Province next year, and I want to try and work my way. The Bulls.
No one is dry up there.
No, Pretoria. Yeah, and I'm English as well. I know there are a lot of English people at Bulls, but so I've always wanted to play for Western Province, so I have a big honor going there, and I want to work my way up the ranks as quickly as I can. I want to enjoy my time there, and then hopefully make SA under 20. That's a big goal for me as well, if I can try and get involved there. And then of course the long-term goal, like any young boy in South Africa, is to represent the Springboks, to play consistently at that level, and that's definitely the dream and something that I'm working towards. But that's probably my expectations for the next couple of years.
And moving forward, are you gonna play lock and blindside? Is that up to the coaches? You don't prefer anyone or any position?
No, I don't mind at all, really. Whenever the coach needs me to play, I know a lot of guys hate playing at lock. They're persistent that they want to be on the flank. They hate getting their ears squashed and everything like that. But there's a couple of guys that do. If let's say like a lock's absent for training, they're going to hide away, do not put their head in that scrum.
Yeah, so you don't mind.
I really don't mind. So whenever the coach needs me to play, I enjoy 7, playing at 7 and 5 throughout, like week in and week out at Porus. It would change. Guys would come in depending on injuries, etc. And I really loved playing at 7, experiencing that, because all my provincial weeks, my Craven week, my Grand Comas, I've always played at 5 lock. That's always been me. So to get exposed to 7, understand it, be a bit more free of the scrum, that was also good for me to experience. I don't mind at all.
And what type of player do you see yourself? Or are you more like a Pieter Steff de Tooy? Are you more of a Jackler? Or what
no, definitely not a Jackler. More sort of like a Pieter Steff de Tooy. Of course, he's unbelievable. 2 times World Player of the Year. But, he's my role model in rugby. He's someone that I look up to. His presence, his physicality, his engine, he just doesn't stop. And he can see he fights, every minute, no matter what the score is. And that's someone that I look up to. But yeah, no, he's definitely someone. I'm not really a jackler, never have really been. More ball carrier, line out option, etc. like that.
That's cool, eh? Just Peter Steph the tweet. Not someone bad to look up to.
No,
and
not
coming
at all.
as a schoolboy, this current Springbok group, eh? That must be, as a young boy, like that's the epitome currently, this group of Springboks.
Definitely.
What has it been like for you as a young man watching them and seeing how they set the tone?
Back-to-back World Cups.
No, I think it is extremely special. What I think we take it for granted almost when you watch this week in and week out. These guys are unbelievable. This is, in my opinion, probably the best Springbok team. I didn't, unfortunately, watch in the past that much. I was still very young. But to experience what these guys are doing and to watch it on a weekly basis is unbelievable. And probably subconsciously in my decision between cricket and rugby, watching the Springboks do what they do, lifting World Cups, uniting a nation, bringing people together, that's probably subconsciously in my head, like, yes, imagine I can be a part of that. Imagine I can experience those things in rugby. And of course, the Springboks are in such a great position now that every, youngster growing up just wants to follow them, try and copy them. So that was probably also maybe a little, factor in my decision making.
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
And in the future decision making, is it? Do you see yourself at the Rugby World Cup? Obviously, you want to play in the Rugby World Cup. Is it the one around the corner, 2027? Is it 31, or are you just taking it day by day? Or
no, so I'm taking it day by day. I haven't really, fixed myself on any of that. I would love to, move up the ranks as quickly as I can. I want to give myself the best opportunity, but. Again, there's unbelievable players ahead of me. There's great guys. I watch the S-under-20 groups. There's just talent coming through there. So I haven't fixed myself on a specific World Cup, but geez, if I can just experience a World Cup in general, that would be unbelievable. That's something that dreams are made of. That's something that I'm really like to play for the Springboks one day is. It's unbelievable.
Special.
Yeah, when you watch and you sing the national anthem, you get goosebumps because you just see it's unbelievable. It's really special.
No, it is the best part, Parry, eh? And it goes by like this.
You two would know. You two would know.
Look, we sit there old now.
Old now, lower back tight.
Riley, but we don't want to put any pressure on you. The outside world will do that by itself. That's the nature of the beast, unfortunately. I want to talk about Riley Norton. I almost said Riley Rousseau.
Riley Rousseau.
Yeah, also left-handed batsman. Yep. Riley Norton. What does December, not the professional rugby player that you're going to become, not the under 19. What does your December look like as a normal schoolboy with your friends?
I actually haven't had many Decembers, if I'm being honest, because the cricket is always December. So usually I finish probably around the 20th of December. We have a beach house in a place called Kasuga in the Eastern Cape, which is like my dad's favorite spot. He wants to retire there. My mom's not convinced because then he has to stay with him there alone. And it's in the middle of almost nowhere. It's like in between Port Alfred and Kenton, but that's where we go. So that's almost our happy place. So as soon as I'm done here, probably midway through December, we're going to go up there.
Okay.
I'll probably invite 5-6 of my mates. We always go up there, and then we're at the sea there. I enjoy hunting when I'm up there. And then also, just wherever my mates are, so I'll maybe pop in at a Marnus around there. And I love being at the beach in December, of course, anyone does. But to be honest, I actually haven't had many long Decembers. So it's usually 10 to 15 days of just relaxation, a bit of family time, and then of course it's Christmas, New Year's, etc. And
just you don't have to say you're going. I just want a yes or no. Is the rage, is that still a thing?
It is still a thing.
It's still a thing. Okay. Yes, he doesn't need to comment if he's going or not. I just want to know if it's still a thing. Okay, sorry,
I know all my mates are going, but unfortunately,
you're gonna miss it.
Yeah, I'm gonna miss it.
Well done.
Rugby again. So we're starting already with pre-season camps now in December. So starting tomorrow. Funny enough, starting tomorrow morning. No plate for me. But I think it'll be okay in the future.
It's going to be lekker.
And Riley, in the future, if you do change your mind about going to the Bulls, let me just say something while we're on this topic, partner. Sorry, Ruckus. It's a fantastic place. You'll love it there. I know you're going to start in Western Province, but a lot of guys make their way to Pretoria. If it ever pops up, you make up your own decision. I just want to put it out there, Ruckus.
100%. I'll send you a message, Rudy. You're the first man I'll contact.
Looks like they've signed him to ask for signings.
I don't think John would speak to me anymore than if I left to the Bulls.
Oh my gosh.
Riley, man, thank you very much for the time. And I mean, I know you're busy at the moment. Not busy at the moment. I mean, you've wrote your exams and stuff, and we wish you all the best with that and the results, and especially for next year as well. Being part of Marties in Western Province and that. And hopefully when it comes to next year, the results will be smooth and everything will went well for you. So thank you for making the time.
Thank you so much, Joe. Thanks really for having me. Really, it means a lot. So it's a big honor.
Riley, are we expecting any A's now when the result comes? What is the academics looking like?
6 A's.
No, the academics are not quite decent. So
Okay.
so I would like to get a few A's if I can.
There we go.
So hopefully, like in the burger or something like that, I can see that you have your student number and there's a distinction there. Yeah, gonna go scanning there early January. So let's see.
Awesome.
Perfect.
Thank you so much, young man.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Hey guys, that's Riley Norton, and you guys know, Behind the Ruck is supported by SuperSport Bet, the one and only SuperSport Bet, and also Ticket Pro. It's December time, it's heating up, it's summertime, so please go get your tickets and heat up the summer and making sure we are well alive.
And Ruckers, never forget, smash the subscribe button below.
Yes.
Okay,
Time
make
to
sure
like.
we share this episode. Let's get to know the future of South African rugby. And guys, this is your number one rugby podcast. And thank you for joining us for this fantastic hour of your week.
Favorite hour. There we go. Hey, I'm Johan de Jong.
I'm Rudy Page.
I'm Riley Norton.
And the Ruck is clear. Woohoo.